Hello everyone, my name is Johnny Wu. I am the Namer Community Manager and I'll be showing you how to place a bid in a Handshake name auction. So let's start by searching for a name. I'm going to go with name auctions as is relevant to the topic of this video. And placing a bid is as simple as inputting a digit and hitting place bid. Of course, where the confusion comes in is with the lockups and the blinds, but there's only 2 points you have to remember and the rest becomes crystal clear. The first point is that the only thing that matters when determining the winner of a name auction is just the bid amount, right? Highest bid wins the name. The second point is that during a name auction, the only value that other bidders are able to see is your lockup, right? So a reminder that the lockup is a combination of your bid and your blind. And all the blind is just additional HNS you want to use to increase the value of your lockup. And why that's useful is because that can effectively hide your bid amount. It's easier to show this than to explain this, so let's just place another bid. This one will be 4 HNS with a 6 HNS blind. Great. And so let's take a look from another bidder's perspective. What I've done is I've opened an incognito window, and we're going to go to that same name auctions. And here you'll see the lockup amount of 10 HNS and 3 HNS, which I just placed earlier, right? So the 3 HNS bid is here, but what you'll notice is that you are unable to see my 4 HNS bid because it's hidden behind the 6 HNS blind that I tacked on. So the only value other bidders are able to see is this 10 HNS lockup. Right? And so the consequence of this is that you don't need to have the highest lockup in order to win an auction, right? And we can see this example in POW. Even though bidder 15 had the highest lockup of 20,000 HNS, bidder 11 was the winner because their bid amount of 15,000 HNS was the highest. And you'll notice that it says this auction was sold for 3,333 HNS. And this is because in Handshake name auctions, the highest bidder only pays the second highest bid, which in this case was 3,333 HNS. And so the winner gets the difference between their bid and that second highest bid. So in this case, bidder 11 would have received back 11,667 HNS back into their HNS wallet. And just a reminder that that 3,333 HNS bid doesn't get paid out to anybody. Right? It doesn't go to Namebase. It doesn't go to some Handshake foundation because Handshake is a completely decentralized protocol. That bid is just burned by the network. Right? It disappears forever and it has a deflationary effect on the Handshake token. So a little more on the Handshake auctions. Every now and then you'll come across an auction page that looks like this. And just for some background, Handshake officially launched on February 14, 2020, Valentine's Day. And for the first year from launch, every week a portion of the names gets released and become available for bidding. So only by the end of the 52nd week will all the names have been released and become available for bidding. And this is just to impede early adopters from just gathering up all the best names right from the get-go. But if you do come across an unreleased name, you can just add it to your watch list and Namebase will shoot you an email once that name becomes available for bidding. Now, once your name does get released, simply placing a bid on it will begin the 720 block auction process. Note that one block time is equal to 10 minutes because on average it takes 10 minutes to mine a Handshake block. However, for any given Handshake block, it could take anywhere between a few seconds to a few hours to mine. So it's actually impossible to accurately determine exactly when any auction will end. So once the auction ends, the 1440 block reveal period will begin. And this is a period for bidders to reveal their bids. Because up until this point, the only value the network is able to see are the lockups, and we need to know the bid amounts in order to determine who the actual winner is. Once you reveal your bids, you'll immediately receive your blinds back, which is an additional advantage for using blinds since you don't need to wait until the end of the reveal period to get your blinds back. However, if you forget to reveal your bids, not only will it not be considered for determining the winner of the auction, but you also won't receive that back. So you won't receive any portion of that lockup back, and you can consider the entire lockup to be effectively burned. But if you are using the Namebase platform, we automatically reveal your bids for you, so you don't need to worry about this step. And once the entire reveal period has concluded, the losing bidders will receive their entire bid amounts back in full, and the winning bidder will receive the difference between their bid amount and the second highest bid, along with the name that they've won. Just a couple more points to wrap up this series. A common point of contention is when two bidders have identical winning bid amounts. Right, so there's 2 points to this. The first point is it's possible that one of the bidders may have a slightly higher bid amount than the other, and it's just not reflected in the Namebase UI. But you can check for this by hovering over the lockup amount. So for example, bidder 27, while it appears that they only place a 0.5 HNS bid, if by hovering over the lockup amount, you can see that they in fact place a 0.5001 HNS bid. However, If those two winning bid amounts are in fact identical, then the bidder to reveal their bid first would win the name. But if they're both on the Namebase platform, then it's really just kind of random. So do your best not to bid identical lockups and bids as others. The final point I'd like to make is regarding bidders who wait until the final blocks, the last few minutes of an auction, to place their bids. Right? We colloquially call these snipers, and there's a risk and reward to the strategy. Right? The reward is, of course, they could potentially win the name for much less competition than otherwise, but the risk is that their bid might not get mined in time. Right? So there's an inherent limit to handshake blocks, which is 600 transactions, and if those blocks are filled, then a last-minute bid may need to wait until the next few blocks, the next available block, in order to even get added on, right? And then that block needs to get mined. So it's possible that the auction ends before that block gets mined, and your last-minute bid would not make it onto the chain. Great. So just to wrap up, let's visit the Learning Center real quick and the Handshake auction page. This particular page has pretty much everything that I just talked about and even more. So if you're ever confused, you should visit this page as a refresher. But I want to specifically call our attention to the case studies just to check our understanding. So let's do case study 2. Right? So which bidder won, how much HNS did the winner burn, and how much HNS will the winner receive back? Well, we know that we can just discount the lockup column because the highest bidder wins. So the highest bid amount is, of course, 150 HNS in this situation. So bidder B wins. They will burn the second highest bid, which is 100 HNS, and they will receive that difference back. So that's 50 HNS. Of course, that's in addition to their blinds that all the bidders also receive back. Great. I hope this all helped better your understanding of how the Handshake auction works. If you do have additional questions, the quickest way to get a response is in the Namer community. You can reach it by searching namer.nb, community.nb, or just discord.nb. They all work. But these are handshake names, so you'll want to use the hns.to search engine if you aren't already resolving handshake names. Great. So hope that all helps. Happy naming, and hope to see you in the Namer community.